My dear African brothers and sisters, leaders and youth, people of all faiths and backgrounds, I stand before you today not to preach, but to understand, not to convert, but to contemplate one of the most significant spiritual movements of our time across our great continent, across the vast landscapes of Africa, from the markets of Dakar to the universities of Nairobi, from the villages of Nigeria to the cities of South Africa. A quiet revolution is taking place. It's not a revolution of weapons or politics, but of the human soul. Thousands of our African brothers and sisters are finding their spiritual home in Islam, and this phenomenon demands our understanding rather than our judgment. Why this journey toward Islam? What spiritual hunger is being fulfilled? What emptiness in modern life is being filled by the ancient call of the Quran? The answers are as complex and beautiful as Africa itself. They speak to our deepest human needs, for community, for meaning, for moral clarity in a confusing world, and for a direct connection with the divine without intermediaries. This isn't about statistics or demographic shifts. This is about the human heart. This is about the search for truth that every human being undertakes. This is about the spiritual marketplace, where different traditions compete, not through force, but through the power of their message and the example of their followers. Today, I want to explore this phenomenon with open hearts and open minds, not as missionaries, but as observers of the human spirit, not as advocates, but as students of social transformation. Let us understand what draws the African soul to the message of Islam in such significant numbers. In a world filled with spiritual confusion and religious commercialization, Islam offers something remarkably pure and direct, a straight path to God without complex theology or expensive intermediaries. The simplicity of the Shahada, there is no God but God, and Muhammad is his messenger, resonates deeply with Africans seeking an uncomplicated, authentic spiritual experience. The Islamic concept of Tawhid, the absolute oneness of God, echoes with many traditional African beliefs in a supreme being. The direct relationship between the Creator and creation without priests or elaborate rituals as barriers appeals to the African soul's desire for immediate spiritual access. The 5 daily prayers create a rhythm of life that keeps believers constantly connected to their purpose and their Maker. Islam's strong emphasis on social justice, community responsibility, and economic equity strikes a deep chord in post-colonial Africa. The Quranic teachings about caring for orphans, feeding the poor, and establishing economic justice align perfectly with African communal values of Ubuntu.
I am because we are. The prohibition of interest in Islamic finance offers an alternative economic vision that many Africans find appealing in the face of exploitative lending practices.
The emphasis on family values, respect for elders, and community solidarity mirrors traditional African social structures that have been weakened by modernization and Western influence. The mosque becomes not just a place of worship, but a community center, where social bonds are strengthened, where the rich help the poor, and where a genuine brotherhood and sisterhood transcends tribal and ethnic divisions that have often plagued our continent. In an era of rapid globalization and cultural invasion, Islam provides a clear moral framework that many Africans find reassuring. The religion's unambiguous stance on issues of family, sexuality, and personal conduct offers stability in a world of shifting values. For parents concerned about their children losing their way in the maze of modern temptations, Islam offers a structured moral universe with clear boundaries and expectations. The modesty, discipline, and self-control emphasized in Islamic teachings provide an antidote to the excesses of consumer culture and hypersexualization. The religion's intellectual tradition and scientific heritage also appeal to educated Africans who want a faith that engages with reason rather than rejecting it. The Quran's encouragement of learning and exploration resonates with Africa's aspirations for progress and development. So what does this spiritual movement mean for Africa's future? It represents something far deeper than religious conversion statistics. It speaks to the African soul's eternal quest for meaning, for justice, for community, and for direct connection with the divine. This isn't about replacing one religion with another. It's about Africans actively choosing their spiritual path based on what resonates with their deepest needs and highest aspirations. It's a testament to the intellectual and spiritual agency of African people who are capable of making informed choices about matters of ultimate concern. The beauty of this phenomenon lies in its voluntary nature. These are not conversions at sword point or through economic coercion, but genuine spiritual journeys undertaken by thinking, feeling human beings who have found something in Islam that speaks to their condition and answers their questions. For us as Africans, this should inspire reflection about what our continent needs spiritually, socially, and morally. The success of Islam in Africa challenges other religious traditions to examine themselves. Are they meeting the deep spiritual needs of our people? Are they addressing the social injustices that plague our societies? Are they providing moral guidance that is both firm and compassionate? This spiritual awakening also carries important implications for interfaith relations in Africa. It calls us to dialogue rather than debate, to understanding rather than condemnation. The future of our continent depends on different religious communities living in mutual respect and cooperation, working together to solve Africa's pressing problems. To our Christian brothers and sisters, I say, this is not a threat, but an invitation to deeper reflection about our shared mission to serve God and humanity. To our traditional religious practitioners, I say, this represents the evolving spiritual landscape of Africa that has always been dynamic and responsive to new revelations. To our secular friends, I say, respect the human need for transcendence and meaning that religion fulfills. The African embrace of Islam ultimately tells a hopeful story about our continent. It shows that Africans are actively engaged in the great questions of human existence, that we are not passive recipients of foreign ideologies, but active participants in the global conversation about truth, justice, and the meaning of life. As we move forward in building the Africa we want, prosperous, united, and self-determining, let us celebrate the religious diversity that enriches our continent. Let us honor every individual's right to seek truth according to their conscience. Let us build societies where different faiths coexist in mutual respect and cooperation. The spiritual journey of Africa continues, as it has for millennia. From traditional beliefs to Christianity and Islam, the African soul continues its eternal quest for the divine. In this quest, we are all pilgrims, all seekers, all children of the same continent trying to find our way home to truth, to justice, to community, and to God. May we walk this path with open hearts, respectful dialogue, and shared commitment to building an Africa where every soul can find its spiritual home in peace and dignity. Thank you.